Hey everybody, this is Dilyana Mileva, and I'm excited to bring you Menopause Made Easy, a podcast designed to provide you tips and strategy to navigate the changes in woman's body, mind, and spirit with more grace and ease. I appreciate you tuning in. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you are updated of each episode release. Alright, let's dive in. Hello everyone. Hello and welcome for another episode of Menopause Made Easy. I'm your host Dilyana with Menopause Support Academy, and I'm glad to have today with me another amazing guest as usual. Her name is Gosia, and she uh, she's a holistic health coach and life coach, podcaster, and thriving expat. She is helping women thriving and not surviving through body, mind, and soul perspective. Graduated from Institute of Integrative Nutrition in New York with a background in the finance sector. She's experienced life coach who has been living in multiple countries. She provides a life a career so she can help women going through transition with her help, and that the women can thrive and not just survive. And welcome for today's episode, Goshia. I'm so glad to have you today.
Thank you so much, Dilyana, for having me. It's my pleasure and honor to be here.
So, what is your biggest challenge in life?
In life, I think the biggest challenge in life is to stay true with yourself throughout that life. And even as you change, it's just to remain true to yourself.
It's the more important is to be authentic, right? To be authentic and truthful to yourself.
Yes.
So, how do you say truth to your true self, even if it's outside of social norms and against the value of your loved one and friends? How you stay truthful?
So I know sometimes it's not easy because we get those pressures, especially as women. We experience so much pressures and we feel that we need to fulfill those roles that the society has designed for us. And in reality, if we stay true to ourselves, we then have so much more to offer because it's in line what is in our soul, in our core of being. How do you do this? First of all, you've got to know yourself and understand yourself and accept yourself as you go through different transitions in life. And I think it's particularly important as we are in the period of menopause that a lot of women are really challenged, not only physically, not only emotionally, but also from the identity perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think the most important thing is to recognize that it changes who we are, who we choose to be in different periods of our life, and accepting that we are not perfect in knowing or being.
Yeah, you're not perfect, but yeah, you just love ourselves in the way you are, right?
Yes. Right now, how it is right now, how imperfect it is right now. Mm-hmm.
Love our imperfection and accept the changes. But what you can do when you feel that you lost the identity or you lost the connection with ourselves, with our true self?
Mm-hmm. So I think I want to talk a little bit broader about this topic because it's not only that we lost, but we maybe lost connection. And a lot of women lose that connection to ourselves and our identity around the age when we are teenagers, where when we become objects of desire, sexual desire, and some women are going into this identity so much because of the social pressures that they forget or they disconnect from their true self. So it's about going back and finding out who I'm truly am then. And then it's a little catch up when you are in your menopausal years, because there is a series of identities that we go through depending on what's coming up in our lives. And this is for any transition, any changes in our life, because we very, very often need to be a little bit different with ourselves, that we mature. And when we arrive at menopause, if we haven't lost contact throughout the different changes and phases in life, then we naturally will go into the menopausal period and then post with just that little change, that one change.
What you do if there was a disconnect, you feel that you're disconnected?
Mm-hmm. You can go and have therapy, and that therapy can go for years, and you can talk about that. But first thing that I think in therapy as well, you start being honest with yourself. And one of the tools that you can do is to take a piece of paper and write down for 3 minutes, who am I? And try to answer the question. And at the beginning, you don't have the answer, or you don't know what the answer is. Then try to describe. And if you don't know who you are, then who do you want to be? And if you do it day in, day out for 3 minutes, just sparing that little thought to think about who you want to be, how you want to be, you will discover what's sitting there deep. Like you pull out the layers. I just want to feel good today. I just want to be healthy. I just don't want to have menopause. I just want to be stable. I just want to know what's going on. I just want to know how to fix it. I just want to feel normal. I just want to have brain that works. I just want my body back. This is the beginnings. And then when you go through all that and there is nothing left, then you sit with it a little longer and you try again. And then you will understand who you want to be or who you are deep down when you peel off the layers. And when you are in line, when you are aligned with yourself about how you think about yourself, with what you truly are, when you peel off the layers of the social norms, of the roles, the duty, the responsibility that we take on, then you will be better in any kind of role you perform in your life, because it will come authentically from who you are. Does that make sense?
So basically, you need to choose who you want to be.
I think it's there's a certain level of choice, and if we can assume that you can choose, absolutely. And if the choice is aligned with your values, with who you are, it will be easy.
So
it will feel longer.
Know your value, right? The first step is know your value.
Yes, so appreciate your value your value. But if I want to just go back to the choice. The choice, it's like you can choose how you approach certain things. And if what you've chosen, if you put on paper, who do I want to be? And you describe that woman, then you will find in a positive way, then you will find that you've got everything you need to be that woman that you want to be. Even as you're going through a major transition in your life. I can give an example.
Yes.
So recently, I am with my clients a lot. I'm working with the concept of having a queen's attitude. So for your audience, ladies, why not go through menopause like a queen? And when you think about our queens, those who passed away and those who are still alive, and we see them, okay, in a public views, think about the dignity and the royal approach that they have towards themselves. They show up for what they need to show up for, but they also, and most importantly, they do look after themselves and their needs in royal manner. If it's needed, it's provided. I don't think Queen Elizabeth would skip her morning tea to make anybody happy, because she needs that tea to be able, she needed that tea to fulfill her duties, her role in that world. Do you understand what I mean?
Absolutely. So love yourself a little bit more, prioritize yourself a little bit more, and start from fill up first your cup, then you share with others.
Yeah.
But what they have to do if they don't feel well about themselves and they need just to going through the day, but they don't feel well about themselves, what they can do?
So I think just setting the intention for anything is so powerful, and it can make tremendous difference in your day and when you add up the days in your life. And all it takes, so it can be as little or as big as you make it. And all it takes is to take one deep breath and say to yourself, how do I want to feel today? And it doesn't matter how difficult the day is going to be. And choosing the royal adjectives, I find them so powerful. Even if my head is not there, even if I'm getting the sweats, even if I'm feeling nauseous, I'm gonna do my day with, and here's a place for your word, I choose for those difficult days, dignity and as much joy as I can muster. Sometimes it's a little bit, sometimes it's a little bit more. But I find the royal adjectives, they help me a lot and my clients too. Because if you could be menopausal with dignity, how would that look like? How would your life be different?
So how you help your clients to go through these challenges and to gain again their confidence?
So most of all, it's empowerment, to give the power to the women. Because I find menopause is a time that is where the social norms or where the women are a little bit left out from the social lenses, that they start being invisible. And just being powerful with yourself, knowing you've got the power. And this is how I help my clients, to give them the right and encourage them to give themselves permission to be the woman they want to be and how they want to be. Because we all have the right. And the only thing we're missing is our own permission, even because nobody else is going to give us permission. And we've been through centuries of that. And it's so wonderful that we can now have the gift of looking at women and sharing the message through social media, through internet, through podcasting, that it's okay to be a little bit or a lot crazy or different, just because that's who you are, regardless of how many sweats you had today, how old you are, and what clothes you want to wear. So for me, it's and my clients, it's empowerment. It's allowing yourself to touch back with who you really are, with that invincibility, with that power that most of us felt when we were 14, 13, 17 maybe was confusing times. But you remember how you felt? I also love my clients to look, and this is what I encourage your audience, to look at old photos of the moments of happiness and carelessness, where you, as a young girl, as a baby, we were owning the world. And a lot of us, I'm sure, a lot of the women listening here are mothers. When you look at the photos of your child and you remember before they went to the moment where the world was watching, that they were aware that the world is watching them, that people are watching, maybe judging. They were fearless and they didn't care, right? If you can go back to that feeling with yourself, and that's what I try to do with my clients, to encourage them that they are free. Because we women, we are free. We people, we are free. We just need to have the courage to step out to that freedom. Does that answer your question?
Perfect. What the result the people can, the women can expect when they work with you?
So I do health coaching and life coaching. So it intertwines, it's always something together. What I'm seeing from the results is that you can really take the part that you need to work on, or you need to change perspective on, or sometimes it's adding a little bit of the physicality of how you change the food, you look after your gut, you do your sport, and then you adopt a certain attitude positively. And all those things, they add up together, that for women with hormonal changes, and I see it in menopausal clients, but I also see it in women who are going through hormonal changes when they are post-baby, post-miscarriage, or even when they are in the teenage years, that all those symptoms, they just are less. And sometimes they're miracles. Some of my clients wake up next morning and saying, I'm done with menopause. I'm just going to go on living. My life is not menopause. My life is my life. And just because how you change your thinking. So there's a lot of to be said for supplementing and exercising, but the attitude, the image that you have, the identity that you have in your mind, that you are identifying, and then the integration of that identity to how you treat yourself. When you treat yourself well and in line with who you truly are on the level of cognitive recognition, but also on your heart level, on your soul level, then you go through everything with ease. So what my clients can expect from me, from working with me, is that the transition will be more natural and it will flow.
What is the 3 things that they can say to their younger self that can help them with the transition?
It's only temporary. It's only temporary. It's the first thing. Second is always, I encourage, and I was just having a very difficult, one of my clients has a difficult situation in life now and big decisions. And, when it's tougher or harder than you expected, and sometimes we end up in a little black hole and we can't see the light in the tunnel. It's very good to go back to look at the time in your life when it was hard, when it was really hard, and realize you made it. And every time when at the age when you are menopausal, you've got so much experience in your life, and every single one of us went through trauma and hardship and fear and difficult times and scary moments. And in a lot of those moments, it seemed like there was not much to go on. Yet we made it. So it's very good to go back and touch back with your power that carried you through those moments. And you can always go back to your experience and take it from there. So that's number 2. And number 3, look a little bit forward. I know it's all about living here, and I'm sure you have meditations here and stuff. Of course, you need to do meditation. You need to be here and now. Now is now. Now is the best. But when it gets hard, when you get doubtful, thinking ahead of when we are actually gonna be on our deathbeds, and I know sometimes it feels like dying on a menopause, to think back. So instead of trying to go into depression, which is going back and thinking about what good it was when things were still working regularly, when the hormones were still like a young woman, why not look forward? At the end of our lives, what is this period to me? And you can do it very easily. Do time travel, close your eyes, think about it's the day of saying goodbye to this world. And what will be important then? The sweats, the heat waves that we're experiencing, how our body has changed, or other more important things. And every single time I do this exercise with my clients, there's always goodness coming. Because what's important? Did we love? Did we live? Did we have friends? How was our family? Did we keep in touch with our friends? And that's what usually comes up. And I find that helps a lot to carry on with a head held high.
I love that. Amazing. So how people can easily connect with you? What is the easier way to connect with you?
So I have a website. It's called gosianagi.com, GOSIANAGY.com. You can also find me on Facebook and on Instagram and LinkedIn. I also have a podcast. So if any of those places you look for Simply Well and Beyond, and of course on the podcast platforms as well, I will definitely come up and my podcast and what I'm talking about.
So how do you work mainly one-on-one, or you have a group program?
At the moment, I offer only one-on-one coaching. I have a 3-month program, and but in the future, I definitely will have a group offering as well.
Yes. Do you have any gift to give our audience from your website, or something that you can offer?
So if you go to my website or you find me on any of the social media, I have a free initial session for 50 minutes. You can get on the call with me one-to-one, and we can talk about your situation, how the things I've got to offer can work for you. And it's like I offer interdisciplinary approach. So we look for the thing that is the easiest with the best results. But most important, what is the easiest to incorporate in your life? So you don't have to make a revolution. You just need to add some spice, remove other spice, and feel better.
If you want to start empower yourself, feel good about yourself, find this confidence, definitely reach out to Gosia, and she's going to help you to transform your well-being and how you feel about yourself. Thank you so much, Gosia, to be with me today and share your wisdom and knowledge with our audience. And thank you, everyone who listened again our episodes, and keep listening, downloading, commenting, make reviews, and I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome, my dear. Thank you for tuning into Menopause Made Easy. You can check out more episodes on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and your favorite podcast apps. Check out the show notes for any website linked to this episode, including where to connect with me on social media. I appreciate you tuning in. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you'll be updated of each episode release. And visit me at menopausesupportacademy.com for all podcast updates as well. Appreciate you dropping by.